A teacher bullied a student. A teacher called the student the N-word. A teacher called the student mentally ill, etc. Put up the picture for a man. This is a hell of a story. An 11-year-old child was allegedly called the N-word and was mocked as being mentally ill in front of her class by a Chicago area school teacher. Her mother has now brought a federal civil lawsuit against the school district. Amica Richardson says that Ellis Middle School in the Chicago suburb of Elgin, Illinois, violated her daughter's civil rights under state law, Title IV of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. She is bringing 6 charges against the female staff member and the school district, including violations of the Equal Educational Opportunity Act and intentional infliction of emotional distress, according to a lawsuit obtained by Atlanta Black Star. Great reporting by Atlanta Black Star. According to the suit, Richardson says the middle school math teacher aggressively addressed her 11-year-old daughter with racial slurs. She was humiliated in front of her peers. The teacher used the N-word and mocked the 6th grader as being mentally ill, according to the complaint. According to the court document, her daughter has an individualized education plan. We call those IEPs in school. That's intended to ensure that children with an identified disability or special needs get the support they need. It also alerts every single school teacher that you have a student that has an IEP. IEPs are contracts, ladies and gentlemen. This is a contractual agreement between the teacher or teachers and the parents. By proxy, the student. Students are not able to enter into the contract legally. With millions watching and many people benefiting from this program called Indisputable, we just need 1% of the viewers to become a paid member so we can continue to bring this content to you. Now back to the show. So according to what happened, instead, she got verbally abused rather than treated with the care she needed, and racial slurs were hurled at her as well. Richardson spoke to local news outlets 2 days after filing the suit about what happened. Quote, she walked into the classroom and the teacher immediately got into her face and saying, quote, what should you be called? What should I address you as? The N-word or black? Recalled the mother. Understandably concerned, Richardson kept her daughter home from school for a few weeks, and when she returned, the teacher was no longer working at the school. She stated at a news conference. So the school district has not confirmed if the teacher was fired, citing privacy laws. The family's civil rights attorney, Jack Cascaccio, claims that the teacher's alleged harassment had a snowball effect, leading to other students bullying that same student. Quote, she was called the N-word, is being confirmed by 6 statements by other students in the class, but now leading to bullying because students see it as the right thing to do, end quote. He said at the press conference. So before I talk about what the mother added to this is your cause and effect relationship. So while students or children are not always listening, they are always learning. And they picked up on this violation from this adult. And that violation created an effect, not only to the 11-year-old by way of her peers, but now her peers have learned a horrible lesson that parents at home will have to attempt to deprogram out of those children because an authority figure taught them it's okay to call this 11-year-old the N-word and to be derogatory as it relates to her mental health. There's more. The girl's mother added, quote, she just, and this is the saddest statement you will hear, she just don't want to be black anymore. Pause on that for a moment. She just doesn't want to be Black anymore. It's immutable. This goes to the very core of who she is. And at 11 years old, she's telling her mother, I just don't want to be Black anymore. That has to transform over time. That kind of internal hurt because of what another adult did. The mother said this, shaking her head, quote, she don't want to go to school. She just doesn't feel comfortable there. Now, mind you, none of this has anything to do with academics. None of this has anything to do with curriculum. This has everything to do with the insensitivity of our social class in this country. Socialization, the acceptance of racism, the acceptance of bigotry, the acceptance of this kind of disrespect from adult figures. There's more. The school district known as U46 will not comment on the lawsuit, but issued a statement to ABC 7 News. Quote, school district U46 does not endorse or tolerate any use of epithets of any kind, nor does the school district endorse or tolerate any disparaging remarks or slurs. Our priority remains the well-being and education of our students. I think they just gave you an answer. They fired her because of racism. Hopefully you can take that to court and win this case. To the mother, continue advocating as you have. To the young lady, you are a leader among leaders. Being Black is a proud thing. You were targeted because of the ignorance of the adult, not because of the color of your skin. The color of your skin is beautiful. All right. David, thoughts here?
Well, I mean, there are bad apples in every bunch. I would say there are racists in every bunch in our society, whether we want to acknowledge it. It exists in journalism. It exists in teaching. Unfortunately, in teaching, they have, of course, direct contact with kids. And it's important for a lot of people to keep in mind that when a student has an IEP, it's not just the teacher who is involved in preparing that IEP plan to help with math and reading, but also social emotional development. There is a guidance counselor that's involved. There's a special ed teacher that's involved. There's usually a deputy principal that's involved. It's an entire team that collaborates to help work on the IEP. So my question is, were other members of that team, were they aware of this teacher's proclivities, of her insensitivities? Had there been other reports about this teacher? And if so, what was done about it? I think there needs to be accountability, not just for the teacher's been fired, but I hope that the lawsuit is able to develop and to sort of expose what went on in that Elgin school to enable that teacher to be there, to enable this sort of thing to happen in the first place, because it should have never happened. And most schools these days, I think, are doing a pretty good job of weeding out the racists and the people who are anti-Semitic from teaching, but there's got to be a system in place to catch all of them.
That's right. Well said, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. We're going to follow up on this story. I would love somebody to send me the educator's information so I can report on that as well.